this vlog is basically taking place after my last vlog. It's like a continuation. It is now February 3rd, and it is also Black History Month. And I'm taking part this month in Blackathon, which is a reading vlog that Jessie from Jessie on YouTube made several years ago. I will link them down below. They are amazing and super sweet, super nice. Definitely go check out their channel. And yeah, they created this readathon years ago, and it's something that I try to do every year. Basically, we are reading books by Black authors throughout the month, and they're uplifting Black voices during this Black History Month, and we will be reading books by Black authors. That is the vibes. First book of the month, I'm going to attempt to read A Crown So Cursed. I'm super excited and super nervous to read this book, y'all. If y'all don't know what this book is about, or the series is about, we basically have a Alice in Wonderland retelling, where we're following our main character, Alice, who is one of the guardians, the Gates of Wonderland. And in the first two books, we are following her journey as she comes to terms with being a guardian of the gates and what that means for her. We meet her friend group, and we also meet some supernatural, we also meet some fantasy characters as well, like Hatter, and other fairy tale characters from the Alice in Wonderland universe. And I feel like I'm explaining this properly. I hope I am. I'm trying not to give too much away, but also trying to sum it up. And basically that's the gist of it. We have this girl that is battling monsters and also trying to balance her everyday normal school life. Buffy the Vampire Slayer meets Alice in Wonderland. That's the best way to describe this book. And it's so fun. I love the characters. And I always get nervous with last books because I'm like, I hope it ends well. I always get nervous with last books in a trilogy because I'm always nervous it's not going to end very well. But I have high hopes for this one because each ending to every other book has been really good.
Follow the white rabbit, got to have it, jump in the hole.
Current location, I'm filming from my bed. I'm relaxing. I've been like just chilling, honestly, the last week. I think I started this vlog on the 4th, and I literally finished the first book today. Why has it taken me this long to finish the book? Honestly, I've just been enjoying watching old TV shows. I think I talked about this in my last vlog. I just been really like having nostalgia for old TV shows that I used to watch when I was younger. So like Moesha, Martin, and shows like that I used to catch in passing, but I never fully was able to finish the series. Granted, I think when those shows came out, like Martin, I was way too young. And Moesha, I was also young when the show first started out, so I never really got to see the conclusion of those shows. So I've been very much like binge watching those shows and just enjoying that. And yeah, that's what I've been doing for the last week on top of trying to finish this book. I'm trying to like figure out my thoughts because I finished this book like 2 or 3 hours ago. And I'm still trying to figure out how I feel about the last book. So I think I mentioned before that this is an Alice in Wonderland retelling, right? And we have, for the last 2 books, we have been building Alice's world in these last 2 books. We've been meeting her friends, her romantic partners, and we've been learning about her magical destiny throughout these 2 books. Throughout these 2 books, we are very, like, heavy in the relationship aspects of the characters. And we are kind of given this will they, won't they situation between our main character and one of our other main characters that are a part of the Wonderland universe. We're building up this relationship between both books, or so it seems. So I'm thinking in the 3rd book, we are going to be fulfilling that and getting closure for that relationship. Now, everything else in this book was perfect. I love the action. I love the LGBTQ representation in this book. I loved it. There was a lot of loose ends at the end of the book, and I think that's what I'm most annoyed about. I was fully expecting everything to be wrapped up in a bow. Like, every single aspect of the story to be wrapped up in a bow, because it is the last book, at least from my knowledge, in the trilogy that we were given, and not everything was wrapped up. And I think I'm a little, like, taken aback that not everything was wrapped up like I thought it was going to be. Even though I love the story, I love the action, I love the fantasy, I love everything about the book, but I was really invested also in the interpersonal relationships of the character, and I was hoping for that to be fully developed, along with other things being wrapped up as well with certain characters, and that did not come to be at the end of the book. So even though I love the ending and I love where our main character ended, I didn't love how we got there and how certain storylines and certain plots weren't wrapped up. So I'm really, like, I don't know what to grade this book at the moment. I think I'm stuck between a 4. I think I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5. 4.5 out of 5. Because, again, I loved everything else in the story. Just those elements that weren't wrapped up kind of brought the book down a little bit for me. But I still love the author, and I can't wait to read more what she rates. And I'm probably very confusing, but yeah. So, for now, the book gets a 4 out of 5. Which, since it's the 14th, we are now, today's the 12th. So I've literally taken like 2 weeks to read this book. That is horrible, y'all. I think going forward in this vlog, I really want to get a lot of reading done. But I also want to enjoy watching TV. So I think I'm going to read very short books for the remainder of this vlog. And I will check in as I'm reading these books and give my thoughts. But I think that's gonna be the vibes. And I'm still kind of stuck on that ending for A Crown So Cursed. Yeah. I don't know. I want to go on a long rant. And it's not a bad book, y'all. I love the series. I love the series so much. I think I was just wanting more towards the end. Like, I wish we got a couple of more chapters to wrap more things up. Yeah, okay. I will check back in with y'all when I have picked my next book to read.
Old-fashioned, let's get under the hood and see what's going on in your internal psyche therapy.
Exactly.
Distracted to even help her up. Prom in Campbell County, Indiana is like football in Texas. The only difference is we don't get our fanaticism out of our systems every Friday.
Area that I filmed in yesterday. I finished 2 more books. Yay for the month. I didn't think I would even get 3 in this month, but I did. So I finished one book called Violet's Blooming Universe. And that one was about this biracial girl who grew up with her white family, but then when her father dies, she ends up visiting her black family in Italy. And she gets exposure to this whole new world that she's being introduced to. We get to see her explore her heritage. And it was just a really fun, wholesome book. And it took place in the 1960s, which I thought was really, really interesting. And yeah, basically we're just seeing this girl exploring her heritage and what being biracial means to her. And it was good. I gave it a 5 out of 5. That I read was an Audible original called At Your Big Age. And it is a book by Kenya Barris. And if y'all know who that is, I'm sure y'all do. They created Blackish and all the shows in the Blackish universe. And they made this 2-hour audiobook that was about these grandparents that are just living their best lives. Chilling at home one day, they're fooling around and they fall down and hurt themselves. And they end up calling their granddaughter to come and help them. Lo and behold, the granddaughter's like, nah, y'all fell down, you have to go to an old folks home. And when I read that, I was infuriated because I was like, can you imagine you raise these children and they come into your house one day, it's just like, nah, you gotta get up out of here. And we putting you in the old folks home, the house that you paid for. They just up and kick you out of your own house. I was like, that got stuck in my head for like a good hour and a half while I was reading this book. I was so mad for the characters. But anyway, besides that, so as the story goes on, we see the characters kind of grow to love this community. We see them kind of get into hijinks, and we see kind of enemies to friendship sort of situation between the wife and another person that lives in the old folks home. And they're just like going back and forth with each other. And there's a lot of drama that happens between the grandfather and an old love interest that's in the old folks home. And then the wife also has a love interest, an ex that ends up there as well. And all heck breaks loose. It was really, really good, really humorous. And yeah, I gave it a 5 out of 5. It was good. Definitely check it out if you're looking for a quick, fun read. Alright, hey y'all. It is now the 15th and I'm done with another book. And sorry if I'm talking at a low volume. My partner is working in the other room and they're taking a call at the moment. So yeah, I finished You Should See Me in the Crown. Y'all, every time I read this book, I fall in love with it all over again. It's such a good book. I think I talked a little bit about it earlier in the vlog, but basically we're following our main character, Liz Leahy, who is this senior in high school, and she is trying to do her best to get up out that high school as fast as possible. She is done with the students. She is done with the school's politics. She just wants to keep her head low and get into this college that she applied to. So she gets into this college, but she cannot afford it. And therein lies how our main character ends up becoming part of the social group in her school. Liz is given the opportunity to get a scholarship, but there's a catch. She has to become prom queen because only prom queens are awarded this big scholarship. And our main character has to step outside of her comfort zone and do things that she doesn't really want to do in order to become prom queen. And we're kind of just seeing her balancing her school life and her friendships, and her dealing with not only like trying to fit into this group of people that she doesn't really like and that don't value her, but also she also is dealing with trying to reconnect with an old friend and being around an old friend who did her dirty. I'm gonna put a spoiler warning here because I really need to talk about this because this part always bothers me in the book. Liz has this best friend, and they were best friends since like childhood. They enter high school and everything changes. Liz encounters an incident where this white student decides to touch her hair. And her best friend doesn't do anything to stop it. He kind of laughs along while this kid is disrespecting her, making fun of her hair and touching up on her hair. From that point, she decides not to talk to him, and they were no longer friends. And there's more to it than that, but this part in the book always makes me so sad. It's not only the fact that she was disrespected, which is crazy, and which is just like a really heartbreaking scene to be reading and watching in real time. I also, as a Black person, have experienced people trying to touch up on my hair. And I can't imagine someone touching up on your hair, but also having the gall to touch up on your hair, but also make fun of you as they're doing that. And our main character, Leahy, and our main character kind of internalizes that and decides, I'm going to be keeping my hair straight back for the entirety of my high school experience because I don't want another experience where someone thinks that they can come up to me, make fun of my hair, and bully me the way they did. And then on top of that, your best friend doesn't do anything to stop it because they wanted to fit in with their popular friend group. And this part in the book always, like, triggers me, and it bothers me so much because you could feel the pain as you're reading. You could feel the character's emotions and pain as you're reading it, and you're just, like, so heartbroken for the character. Mixed in with that with my own personal experience of people trying to touch my hair, I cannot imagine that being 10 times worse than what that experience already is. Yeah. But yeah, I always hate that part in the book, and it's hard for me to reconcile how things end at the end of it. Non-spoiler reviews started again, so our main character is also dealing with having to reconcile a friendship and trying to navigate being in the social circle with a person she no longer talks to that she used to be friends with. So we're kind of all getting like we're kind of getting her journey as she's just trying to navigate this high school world that she's in, and also navigating her home life with her brother that is dealing with a medical issue. There's a lot of elements that are touched on in this book, but it's really, really good, and it touches on so much Black joy, and it's just a really heartwarming and fun read, and I would definitely check it out. I gave it a 5 out of 5. I think last month I was telling y'all that I was getting, I was buying physical media of TV shows that I grew up watching and trying to collect it. So I think last time I talked about Girlfriends, I think I showed you in the little vlog that I had. Oh, did I cut out the vlog? Oh my god, I don't know if I put it in my other vlog. Anyway, yeah, I've seen on my channel that I collect. I'm trying to collect old TV shows and music that I used to listen to when I was younger, just to have. So I ended up picking up Everybody Hates Chris season 1. I didn't grow up watching this, but I did see it in passing when I used to flip through the channels, and I would watch a couple of episodes here and there. Beyonce's Renaissance CD. Again, I have this on my iTunes, but I wanted it physically. Yeah, those are the two things that I picked up this month so far in terms of my physical media. Each month I usually try to add in my physical media, whatever I'm picking up physically, into my vlogs. And I'm not sure if I put in what I got last month. I'm like trying to think about it now. Did I cut out the vlog or did I put it as B-roll? I don't know. I also picked up this movie with Gabrielle Union called Deliver Us from Eva. That movie was so good. It was my first time watching it, y'all. I think I may have come across it when I was younger, but it was my first time watching it as an adult, and it was so good. The only thing is, I had to suspend my belief in how everything ended at the end, because I was just like, after what these men did to Eva in that movie, and for her to forgive them and kind of like move on with her life in that way, I was just like, yo, I would have not forgiven these men, especially these men that were part of my family and schemed together to try and like, it's the whole thing. Like, for me personally, I was like, it's really hard for me to be like, yeah, I would have forgiven them because they were so mean in the way that they were trying to handle things. Yeah, I don't know. But I love the movie. It was really, really good. And I can't wait to watch it later on in the year. What else did I pick up in terms of physical media this month? Yeah, I think that's about it. I only picked up a couple of DVDs. But yeah, that is all for now. I will check back in later. Sorry, y'all, if I'm like sounding a bit awkward or a little bit like all over the place. I just finished having counseling, and that always puts me in a very like frazzled kind of emotional state. And again, I haven't like really vlogged in a couple of days, and I've always felt very awkward when I turn back on the camera as like trying to talk and like get my thoughts together. Also ADHD, my thoughts are all over the place, and sometimes I just say things that come to mind, and that's the thing I'm trying to like, yeah. Anyway, I will check back in with y'all later. Bye. Hey y'all, so it is now, I think, February, where are we at? I don't even know what day it is. I think it's like February 23rd. I finished another book. I didn't end up reading that zombie book that I talked about earlier in the vlog. It was about like 10 hours, and I've been really like slow with picking up books and finishing them. So I'm just gonna leave that for probably next month's read. But I did end up listening to an Audible original that was only 2 hours. It was called Crimes of Passion, and it was about these two podcasters teaming up because one of their biggest fans passed away, and their last wish was for them to do a podcast together. And it turns into an enemies to lovers situation where they have to work together, they're not really vibing, but at the end things turn out really sweet and wholesome, and it was a really, really good book. I really enjoyed the spice in this book. It wasn't too much, but it wasn't too little. It was just the right amount. And yeah, I gave it a 5 out of 5. It was really, really good. And it was an LGBTQ story, which is always a plus in this household. Okay, so yeah, I'm reading Maggie Baker's Banned Bookshop. Alright, so this one is about this girl that ends up taking over her friend's bookshop while she is on maternity leave. And she inherits this kind of, I don't want to say like rundown bookshop, but the bookshop is really not doing well. And the boss doesn't like her, and she just has to hold down the fort until her friend comes back. But if she doesn't succeed at making the numbers, she's going to her friend is going to lose her job. She's trying her best to kind of bring in new customers, but it's very hard to do because this bookstore only sells classic books. So our main character devises a plan to create different events, different book events, without her boss knowing because he's very uptight. Hey, y'all, I'm so sorry. My phone died. My phone died while I was talking about the book yesterday. So it's the next day. I think I was talking about Maggie's Banned Bookstore. So she decides to host kind of like an underground book club where she gets people to not only read the classics that are sold in the store, but other books as well. And that brings in revenue. And as she is doing this, she's also trying to hide the fact that she is hosting this book club. The person that she's working for is like very, very conservative, and she kind of has to hide the fact that she is bringing extra revenue when she is hosting this book club, because he will find any excuse to fire her. And that is basically the gist of this book. We also have a theme of like plagiarism and people taking credit for other people's work. When it comes to the bookish space. And yeah, I gave this book a 3 out of 5. Like, I liked it, but it wasn't my favorite. For me, I think I wanted a lot more bookish things. I wanted a lot more bookstore moments than what we got in the book, if that makes any sense. I wanted it to be more centered around the bookstore itself, and we got glimpses of that and like little moments of that, but we didn't stay too long in the bookstore. And for me personally, like, I wanted more of that. But yeah, if you're into a quick like cozy romance, definitely check it out because I thought it was good. Yeah, and that's that. And that is the last book, y'all, for this month. That is the last book for this month. It is now February 27th. And I'm going to end the vlog here. If you made it this far, leave down a bookish emoji to let me know you were here. And I will see y'all in the next video. Bye.